Good morning, and welcome back to our study on the first chapter of the Gospel of Mark. Today we want to look at verse 12. It says, "The Spirit immediately drove him out into the wilderness." Shorter verse today, but I still think there's something that we can take from this. First of all, again, notice that Mark uses the word immediately again to move the narrative forward. Jesus is baptized, and it's almost like he is then forced or compelled to just immediately go out into the wilderness. But on that, this is where I think this gets interesting, because it is the Spirit in particular, we're told, that drove him out into the wilderness. What this means is that under the guidance of the Spirit, Jesus is driven to go out into the wilderness. Now, again, sometimes when we think about the wilderness, we think about it as a place of failure. We think about it as a place maybe of temptation. Now, as we've noted before, sometimes it is the very place where one goes to meet God and learn something about God. However, in this instance, if you know the story that's going to happen, and we'll get more into it tomorrow, Jesus is going out into the wilderness to face temptations at the hands of the evil one himself. But what is fascinating about that is that is exactly where the Spirit is driving him. He is going out to have a showdown in the wilderness. It is not an accident. The evil one didn't sneak up on him. Jesus, under the guidance of the Spirit, purposely goes out into the wilderness to have a showdown with the evil one. Brothers and sisters, this to me is fascinating, because I think what this indicates is that sometimes the Spirit leads us in a direction that doesn't, on the outset of it, seem to be the way that we need to go, but it's the way that God wants us to go. Now, don't misunderstand me. The Spirit is not going to lead us to do something wrong, nor is the Spirit going to lead us into temptation. However, the Spirit may lead us into a place where we will be tested, where our faith will be tested against the evil one and against his temptations. But that is not the same thing, because God is not tempted by evil, and as James says, he does not tempt anyone. However, he does sometimes test our faith. So I would just say here, if the Spirit is leading you to go in a direction and you look at it and you say, I just don't know, it seems like there may be a lot of opposition there. It seems like that may be something that causes a lot of trouble. Perhaps that's something that, would be difficult to do. It may be that that is exactly what the Spirit wants you to do. That he wants you to go through that time of trial and testing so that you can see the strength of your faith. The leading of the Spirit is sometimes mysterious, and yet he is directed by God to direct us, and we should be open to receiving that. Jesus himself was, and so he went out into the wilderness. And this is the other thing that I want to point out about this today, is that, brothers and sisters, we should not be afraid of the wilderness, whatever that may look like. Sometimes people talking about it in terms of a dry place, or a time where it just doesn't seem like much is going on, or again, a time of testing, a time of trial, and it may very well be those things. And I'm not trying to downplay those aspects of it. Pain is real. Struggle is real. There is truly hardship in the world. However, we should not be afraid. God says, do not fear. And the reason why is because he's with us. If we are walking in his way, or if we are living in accord with the Spirit, and we are being led by the Spirit, then there is a reason why we are going through the time of difficulty that we find ourselves going through. And again, it may be the wilderness where our faith is tested and we find strength, where the Lord encourages us, where we have a great victory. Yes, it may be a place where the evil one may attack us, but if he does, think about this, brothers and sisters. Who is with us? God is with us. And as Paul says, if he is the one standing with us, then who is it that can be against us? I hope you have a great day.